Welcome to Heliodor Castle, friend.
You shall not escape me, Darkspawn!
Know this. The Luminary is the root of all evil and will bring naught but misery to our realm.
I believe in you. I believe in the Luminary.
Arise! Awaken, Holy One!
You'd better not mess this up. You hear? Let's hit the road, partner.
Hello everybody, Megazard here, back at it again to give you another very exciting collection reflection video where I take the time out to just go through my whole entire gaming library. It could be a game, could be a console, could be a limited edition, but today we're going to be talking about none other than Dragon Quest XI's Echoes of Elusive Age Definitive Edition for the Nintendo Switch. That is a mouthful of a title. Yes, I slapped on the Nintendo Switch part of it though, but my good friend Sonic and stuff, like he said that title over and over and over. Like he's a sucker for this series, especially for this game in general though. I really love the heck out of this game, and it was only a matter of time before I would actually talk about this game in particular, because I would definitely say this is easily top 5, definitely top 10, but easily could be top 5 best RPG that you could probably play on the Nintendo Switch, even up until this day though, because man oh man, I wasn't necessarily a fan of Dragon Quest before this title. I think I kind of heard about some things, heard about the fanfare and stuff. It's kind of hard to dodge that fanfare out there in the game universe and stuff though, but I never sat down to actually put any time to any Dragon Quest game at all. And this was like early off in the Switch's life where it's like, oh, okay, you got a little bit more experimental. You just wanted to play the Switch as much as possible though. And this is definitely one of those games that kind of stood out, and there was a demo for it. And I was like, I might as well go ahead and check it out. And man, the rest of it was history from the moment I played that demo. So that's what we're going to be talking about here in today's video though. But if you hadn't already done so, make sure you're going to hit that like button, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight up into this video. Dragon Quest XI's Echoes of Elusive Age Definitive Edition for the Nintendo Switch. Here we go. So this game right here, I remembered, if you go all the way back to the the original Nintendo Switch presentation thing that happened in January of 2017 and stuff, this is like one of those first few games that was confirming coming to the Nintendo Switch, and it took a stinking 2 years after that presentation and some months before we finally got the fruits of our labor that that Square Enix and stuff was working on this game, until they managed to actually finally put this game out here though. And I was like, what on earth? And I'm not entirely sure exactly what was the holdup in terms of how long it was trying to take them to make this game though. But man, oh man, when I started seeing those trailers and stuff and the footage they managed to showcase off in some of the, in the E3 presentations leading up to it, I was like, this is an RPG. I really do like and enjoy RPGs in general. So I was like, I'm willing to kind of give this game a shot. It looks kind of interesting. Like, the characters and stuff look nice. I like the world exploration aspect of it though. It seems like you had a lot to explore up in this game. And I think the thing that really sold me the most was the fact that there was going to be a demo for this game, and the same progression that you were able to do in the demo will carry over into the full version of the game if you decide to buy digital or physical or whatever. And I think at the time, that wasn't necessarily a common thing. I feel like this game and then every other game after it, that's when I started to see more games release demos where you can carry the progression over into the main game, outside of just saying, oh, you get like a few items here and there. No, like your actual say progression carries over. And when I say this demo was beefy, I mean, shoot, this demo, if you're just blasting through it as fast as you possibly can, could still take you upwards to 6 hours to complete the demo alone. I say there was more game in this one demo alone than a lot of games out there that you might be able to buy just digitally off of the Nintendo Switch eShop ever would be an actual game. Like, there's a lot of game up in this, and it's only a demo. It's only like 10% of the overall story, because I think in terms of gameplay hours, it took me close to about 60-ish hours That's just the main story, not including the post game, for me to go through and beat the game. And I was like, okay. I was like, you knew you were in for a ride whenever it left you with that cliffhanger, and you were like, no, I need to kind of keep going through and playing through this game though, because as you're going throughout your whole entire exploration for this game, you get to play as the hero. And the hero is obviously, the one that's, your main character throughout this whole entire playthrough and stuff, known as the Illuminary. And, obviously he is pitted against a Dark One, and, y'all two are basically clashing, having at it and such. And obviously you can't complete and do this journey alone. You have to have some buddies along for the ride though. So you had like a couple of twins over there. One was kind of like, not well, oh shoot, I better not say that. But yeah, you had one twin that was small for some oddball reason, even though you could tell that she was older. And then you had her other thing. You had Sylvando, which, oh my gosh, Sylvando, man, that dude's a character right there. Like, if you know, I'll leave it at that though, but he can get you to laugh throughout this whole entire journey. And I feel like the comedic aspect in games is nothing to sneeze at. It's something that you really need to have there, because this game has some lighthearted moments and it has some extremely dark moments though. We'll get to that here in a little bit. And then obviously you had like your best bro over there, Eric. Man, oh man, like you talk about a brother from another mother, or you're kind of close. And even though you might not be related by blood, it feels like it though. Like that dude was with you through and through this whole entire journey right there. Like I probably will never forget that man's name though. Man, he's OP, especially even whenever he's fighting enemies and stuff like that. And then obviously you had Jade, and then you had the grandpa. Jade, fine woman right there, fine woman. And then you had the grandpa. Grandpa has some mad skills though. I hate how long it took for you to get into the game before you actually had him as a playable character in your roster and stuff. So yeah, you're going through this merry band of different people though, and you're just trying to go through, explore the world, solve a lot of different problems, and try to end this big old war and stuff like that. Everybody has it out for you because obviously the king painted you in a bad picture, thinking like, oh, all of this bad stuff is about to happen now because you managed to show up. Like we were in peace prior to this stuff. And it was like, what the actual heck though? So you can't go throughout an RPG without a little bit of drama. You got to kick up some dirt up into some people's faces and stuff though. But the world exploration of it though, I think that's one thing I really did like and appreciate within this game. And there's a few aspects in this game that I wish a lot of other RPGs would do out there in general. While yes, this is a turn-based RPG, which a lot of people love, some people aren't, some people more akin to the action RPGs nowadays though. I do like the fact that how you don't have random encounters, which is something that a lot of RPGs are known for. And I think, the more and more you go through and play, and, obviously you have big backlogs of different games that you like to go through and play. And there's only so many hours in a day. There's only so much you can tolerate with at least random encounters. But while you're playing the game in the 3D mode, you can kind of pick and choose your battles. Like you can run up to an enemy if you want to start that battle, or you can decide just to kind of walk around it and such though. So they kind of leave that, up into the player's hands. And, for the most part, while I was going through and playing this game, I didn't necessarily have to do a lot of grinding, which is, something that you're usually accustomed to within most RPGs though. But I felt like by the time I hit the major plot points in the story beats, whenever I had to fight like a big old major octopus that was out at sea or something like that, or any other bosses that happened to play out in the rest of this game, I felt like I was appropriately balance with all my levels for my character. So when I face that boss, I usually beat it the first time around, or worst case scenario, it might have took me at least a few tries before I managed to crack it wide open though. So honestly, I really do love that. But even if you did have to grind, there are such things that are added into this version, such as the speed up option, which you didn't necessarily have in the first version of Dragon Quest that managed to drop out like on the PS4 before you had this definitive edition on the Nintendo Switch though. And I love that fact how you can speed up your battles and stuff like that. So if you just want to spend an hour's worth of grinding, go ahead, have at it, and you can cut down the time in half if you wanted to, maybe 3 times or whatever though. As long as you're able to go through and navigate through those menu speeds and those menu selections, and just manage to pick your choices real fast, I mean, hey, you can do it. And there's a lot of different customization. Obviously, you can control each unit that you want to do in terms of their commands, or you can kind of give them a little bit of strategy, be like, hey, you can be the designated healer, you can be the designated attacker, you can be one of the people that can soak up a lot more hits. You can do whatever you want. But at least for me personally, the way how I play my RPGs, I'm always the one to tell each and every person and command them to do what they need to do, though, because hey, I don't need some, CPU fumbling the ball when I really need some healing, or I need some defensive boost or whatever, though, because there are certain bosses out there. It's like, all right, you're gonna have to buff up your party a little bit defensively or offensively if you want to really rake on that damage on it, though. I'm just saying, though. So yeah, I love all those elements that they managed to add as great quality of life improvements, even from the base version of Dragon Quest 11 that was on that PS4 version. And that was just the 3D and 3D environments. I didn't even mention about the 2D environments, which, I dabble with it a little bit here and there, though, but I like how the fact that you can play through the whole entire game of Dragon Quest 11 on the 2D mode. Like, you don't have to play it at all on the 3D mode if you want, or you can even go back and forth, though, but you can't just like flip it on the dime anywhere in the world. Like, I think you have to do it at like the church location. There's like certain spots in the map where it's like, okay, this is where you can flip and go from 2D to 3D, though. So I really did like that. And they have even an exclusive mode where it's like you can go back to any of the prior Dragon Quest realms, where it's like, okay, you can play like a certain snippet and jump back into a time frame of Dragon Quest 1 or Dragon Quest 3, Dragon Quest 7, Dragon Quest 8. And you can hop into those different worlds and be able to, do certain little tasks up in there, though. So I really did like that, and, paying respects to this, the whole entire Dragon Quest series history right there. So if you really love Dragon Quest, if you went through and played all of those past games, you're going to get a kick even out of this one month alone, let alone everything that Dragon Quest 11 has to offer, though. So I really did like that. And then let's go ahead and talk about the story. I won't necessarily dive up into like the nitty gritty up in there in case you hadn't managed to play the game, though. But if you know, because holy shoot, like the first half of the game, I felt like, you were just a good old merry band, just kind of going wherever you wanted to and just enjoying your adventure while still trying to accomplish some things. Like, you're kind of a wanted man, at least during certain segments of this game, though. And obviously you're trying to do what you can in order to try to stop this war. But there's a certain point in the story where everything gets flipped up on its head, and you go from the light atmosphere to just being completely dark, even losing some people. And I'll just leave it at that. And if you played the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And this game is not afraid of not pulling its punches. Like it just took some hard swings at you, and it kind of makes you sit down and think like, dang, did we really just let that happen? I had to choose my words correctly right there. Did we really let this happen? And that's all I will say up on that thing. And I really enjoyed this story thoroughly from beginning to end. And that's just the main story. Even when you're done with the main story, there's even a post story that can help, kind of solve some issues that happen at the halfway point of the story, should you choose to accept and try to change the way how certain things played out. That's all I will say, at least on that, though. And if you know, I did thoroughly enjoy the post game, though, and there's some challenging bosses, I will say like that, once you get towards the tail end of that. But honestly, while I was going through and playing Dragon Quest 11S, it has thoroughly captured my heart in the sense of, hey, this is how RPGs should be done. The way out they're handled, the adventure, the exploration, the sense of joy, thrill, excitement, but also sadness and terror. Like, this game had everything. You kind of think Dragon Quest games for the most part are just kind of like it's kind of chipper and stuff. Like, you got your puffs and stuff like that. You got your little slime creatures and such. You think it's, normally a good time, but this game in particular isn't necessarily all, roses. Like, it can go places, and that's the thing I think I thoroughly enjoyed the most out of this game, especially when this game came out early in the Nintendo Switch Live. Like, it was back in 2019 and stuff, and I was like, gosh dang, this is a game you honestly really shouldn't be sleeping on. And I feel like for a lot of people it's going to be some gems, but obviously if you're in the Japanese community and stuff like that, like, obviously those people over there, they love this game. And I hope that this game continues to build and get bigger as a franchise. Now, I do know with the upcoming release of Dragon Quest III HD 2D that should be launching out within like a mere few days from now. That's the reason why I want to go through and just talk about this game, kind of give my thoughts on it, though, trying to get myself in this nice Dragon Quest mood leading up into it, because I think Dragon Quest 11 has left so much of an impression on me to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and just try to play most of the games in the series or go through and buy some of them. And it's, you know, obviously it's tough with them being a bunch of, you know, RPG games and stuff. You got to have the time, commitment and stuff like that to add these to your backlog and stuff while still trying to play out, you know, all of the new hot releases that are coming out and still finding time to go back in the past though. But in terms of like all the Dragon Quest games I own now, even though I hadn't necessarily gone through and beaten all of them, I'll get around to that at some point. But I do have Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3, the original versions. But thankfully, we had the HD versions for all 3 of those games coming out. So that's the way I'll play all 3 of those. I don't have 4, 5, and 6. I know my good friend Sonic who has those games. I know they're kind of expensive to get them physically, though. So I'll see how Square Enix likes to play those out, though. I do have 7, and I do have Dragon Quest 8, both on the 3DS. Dragon Quest 9, I don't have that. And then 10 is that weird one where it's like the MMO that's like exclusive to Japan. Even the offline versions of it, like Japan managed to get, but us here in America, we didn't manage to get any of those. So I was like, it's kind of odd. I wish they would do something about that though. And then obviously I have Dragon Quest 11. Dragon Quest 12 has been announced. That game looks extremely dark. Like I thought Dragon Quest 11 went some places with the game being extremely dark, but this one, oh shoot, like I feel like that one could be easily a mature rated game. Oh my gosh, I don't even know what the heck that game could look like if it's a mature rated game for Dragon Quest 12. That's gonna be wild right there. But I will be picking that game up day one, whenever that game does release though, at least fingers crossed for that one. So I'm like, oh shoot. So honestly, if you hadn't played Dragon Quest 11S Echoes of Elusive Age Definitive Edition for the Nintendo Switch, now it's actually out there on like PS4 or PS5 or something like that. I think it's out on Xbox or whatever though. You know, that Definitive Edition is not just only on the Switch, it's on the other platforms now. You need to go ahead and do yourself a favor and at least start off playing the demo. And if that sells you, then go ahead and buy the actual game itself, because you'll be doing yourself a great honor. If you claim to be a fan of RPGs, you definitely need to sit down and play this game though, at least at some point though. And then are you excited for playing Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D along with the 1 and 2 that should be also releasing for the HD 2D versions for those in 2025? Y'all just gotta let me know down in the comment section down below. But you know, let me know your thoughts about Dragon Quest 11, any of your fond memories or anything like that down in the comments below. But that's gonna basically do it for today's video though. So if you really like this, make sure you're gonna hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing. So remember y'all, until we're at video I make next, see y'all.